So mostly whatever email notification you will set up whenever you join an organization, it will be already been set up by the administrator. Okay. So the SMTP server, which the company would have always be there, the SMTP server, and you need that SMTP server, the user ID and password to set up the things in the Jenkins. That's what we have to do. But here, as we don't have SMTP server, I'm going to show you how you can create one SMTP server and how we can the user ID and credentials on the AWS cloud, and that SMTP server how you can use the Jenkins from the scratch. Okay, so that you'll get more ideas and more experience on how to set up the email notifications, and you can easily tell in the interview if you are going to tell because you know the in and out of the email setup. Okay, so let's start. Let me share my screen. Okay, so the server is running. So, okay, you can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to show you another service of AWS, which is called SES. Okay, simple email service. Email service, SES. So imagine simple email service. That is what we are going to use to create our SMTP server. So go there. So before that, actually, what happens? You have to verify your email address. You have to verify your email address, or else the email will not go to the email address. Okay. So here I have verified two of my email ID, Ranjit Swami and Ranjit Swami for you. These two email IDs are verified. You can see here the status is verified. Now, whatever the email I'm going to set up, and the reply emails will can go to the this email ID from this SMTP server. Okay. First, you have to verify your.
Okay. First, 1 minute. First, how did we get in Amazon S3 this email ID?
Sorry, Amazon. I did not get it.
No. Yeah. You anywhere you created or
This email IDs, right?
yeah.
No, no, these are my personal email ID, right? So I just set up this. I just added this to verify the email ID. Okay, I just very. I just
That's where
okay.
where did you do that?
Yeah, okay. So you can just go to create identity. Okay, just go to
Okay.
create identity, and here how to verify it. Identity to verify ownership of the email address. Just select this email ID and provide the email ID over here. Okay, create identity, email address, and set up the email address and just create identity. And then it will try to verify it,
Okay.
send one link to your email address and you have to verify there. Okay, it's very simple only. So this is the first thing to verify your email ID. So once you verified it, then you have to create
But
one.
actually, sorry. Actually, with SES Amazon service, from where we'll get it?
You can search it over here. Okay, in the search box, right? You can in the search box you can go and just search for email service. Search for email service,
Okay.
and you can
Email
get,
service. Okay.
yeah, email service, and you can get it for Amazon simple email service. SES, simple
Okay.
email service, you can get it here. Or else if you want to go directly, you just click on the services, and here you can see the email services will be here, one of the category, right? Any one of the category, if you search you will find it out, but it will be difficult to find it out which in which category it will come from. Okay, so better you just search for the email service, the name email service, and you will get
Okay.
it. Okay.
Fine.
Now, so once you get this one, what you have to do, you have to just set up and create one SMTP server. So let's check the account. Okay. So what you can see here in my account dashboard, I don't have set up anything. So what they say here, the sending limit. Okay. Daily sending quota is 200 emails per 24-hour period. Maximum send rate one email per second. Okay. So this is actually comes under free only. So up to 200 emails 24 hours period, it is free. Beyond that, they will charge you. Okay. So I have created this account and all. Okay. Now the main thing is how to create the SMTP server. This is just to monitor, okay, the configuration detail, account details, and daily email usage. You can say I have never sent any emails. It says zero. Recently, in 24 hours, I have never sent any emails. It says zero. 200 emails I can send. Okay, and here the SMTP endpoints. I have already the set. You can see here if you go the account dashboard of your account, you can find it out over here, the simple mail transfer protocol SMTP. This is what I was talking about, and we are going to set up here the SMTP server. Through this SMTP server, the endpoint, we are going to send email from Jenkins server. Okay. Now, what you can see here, the already it will be there for you. Okay, don't worry, based on your region setup it will already be there, the endpoint. The thing is you have to just create the SMTP credentials. Just you have to create the SMTP credentials. Just click on this. So what happened here, I just created one user called SES SMTP user and just some number. Now what happens, you just have to click on the create. So if you click on here, show user SMTP security credentials, it will display you. And this is your user. Keep it handy. Okay, this is your SMTP user, and this is your SMTP password. So now you got it, the SMTP server, and this is your SMTP server. In the initially, it will give you the SMTP server. Okay. So first, what? Let me just copy this to somewhere, and SMTP user ID and password. You can download the credentials. See what I said. This is the only one time. Sorry, this is the only time this SMTP security credential will be available for download. So once you close this window, you will not get back this user ID and password. Then you have to recreate it. Okay. So better you always just download the credentials and save securely somewhere in your laptop or somewhere. Okay. Now let me just close it. I saved this user ID and password. Let me just close it because I need the SMTP server name. Okay, I forgot to copy that one. I need the SMTP server name. Oh, sorry, not this one. Okay, it was there already. Okay, this is the SMTP endpoint which we need. Okay, SMTP server. We need this one. Okay. Now, so we have created our SMTP server user ID and password. Okay, the credentials we are going to use it. What do we have to do now? Let's go to our Jenkins server. So I'm just going to log into my Jenkins. Okay. Good. So we have to do few configuration setup here. We have to do few configuration setup here. Let's do the configuration setup. Go to the manage Jenkins. Okay. And just see what I am doing. Okay. And same thing you have to also do the setup when you are going to do setup. So first we have to do some configuration setup. Configure system. Click on this configure system. some changes we have to do here. Okay. Okay. The first thing, when you go to the configuration here, you'll find Jenkins location. Okay, you'll find the Jenkins location. Make sure this Jenkins server details are up to date and correct as per the new IP address. Okay, so this IP address, when I installed the Jenkins and set up the first time, this IP address was there automatically taken by the Jenkins. But meantime, we have restarted our servers many times, and our IP addresses and server IP addresses has changed because we are using the dynamic IP addresses. We have no static IPs and we have no domain names. But for your company, it will not the same case. It will have the Jenkins server domain name. You will have a dedicated server name or domain name for the Jenkins static name. Okay, so make sure as you are doing practice, you have to change this Jenkins URL as per your current one. So just change it. Okay, now I change to 192, 192. And the system admin email address, whatever email address you have set up in the SES. Remember, this is what I have verified. Okay, just set up it here. Now this Jenkins location is changed. What we have to do next, we have to set up the email configurations. Now we have to set up the email configurations. Just go below here, go down, just go little down. Don't go for extended email notification. Okay, we'll have another email notification. Okay, so we have here one email notification. You can see here email notification, and you'll find over here it is asking for SMTP server. It is asking for SMTP server, and you have to get this SMTP server. From where you have to get this SMTP server? Just go to your. I already have copied it. Okay, but I'm showing you to manage. Okay. I already have copied this SMTP server, but you can find it over here. Okay, go to your account dashboard, and sorry, in the SMTP settings, you can find the SMTP endpoint. Just copy this one, SMTP endpoint, and paste it over here. Paste it over here. This is your SMTP server. Now, you don't have to set up this email for prefix or suffix or anything. If you have, you can set it up or leave it as default. Now, what we are going to do, set up, click on this advanced. Click on this advanced option to add few more details because you have to add user ID and password. Okay, click on this add. Okay, so my previous user ID and password was there, so I'll just change it. Okay, I'll just so you'll see the options over here. Use SMTP authentications. You'll have three more authentications. If you have SSL certificate with you, you can use that SSL certificate. SMTP server connect to SMTP server. You have the TLS, you can use this TLS. But I'll just use my SMTP authentication, the user ID and password to connect this one. And for using SSL, it is simple. Just select this use SSL, and whatever the SSL you would have set up in the initial beginning part, it will automatically keep that one. But if you click on this use SMTP server, it will just ask for user ID and password. I'll just give this user ID and password. So what is the username? Select the username, and the password. Okay, password. So that's all. And this SMTP port. So where you'll get this port and how would you know the which port I should use? Okay, this is very important. So if you go here, you can see few SMTP ports are given here. Few SMTP ports are given. Start TLS port, TLS wrapper port. Either you can use 25. Most of the things, if you in your company, you'll see they'll be using port number 25, 2587 or something, right? So let me use something a different port here. Out of this port, right? Any one of the port you can use. Any one of the port you can use. Okay. Suppose I am going to use 465 here. Okay. This is the SMTP port I'm going to use. And reply to address, I have given this. The email should be go to this one, but let me just show you here. ng.9@yahoo.com. Okay. Now, and character set, let it be UTF-8. Okay, that's all. So this is what you have to do, the simple setup here. Okay, so once this setup is done, just save it. Now our email is set up done. What I'm going to do, I'm going to show you from one of the existing project. Suppose this is the project and you are going to set up the email notification for that. So how you'll do it, just click on this. Okay, configure. Now here we are going to change some settings and I'll show you how you can test the functionality, okay, and then use it. So what I'm going to do here, in the post build action, because see, this email notification where after the build is done, after the build is done, you have to set up the email notification functionality, right? So how you'll do that, just click on this and you can say here email notification. One option is there, email notification. There are lots of options are there, but one option is there, email notifications. And you can see another is called editable email notifications. That means whenever you run a build, it will ask to edit or send some user defined or some emails which can be edited during the executions. Okay, I'll set up this email notifications. Click on this. Now you can see here the recipient. Just provide the recipient details. What it says, you can send the recipient whatever the recipient you want to send it. The email recipient address. Okay, you can multiple recipient. You can just add it by using just a comma. Okay, it will just add, and you can send multiple email address. Normally, what happens? We provide the group email ID, right? Either the DevOps group, there's a DevOps team email ID or developer team email ID. We have to set up. So what happens here? It says. Two options are here and you can send whether send separate emails to individuals who broke the build. Okay, send separate emails to individual who broke the build, or suppose I am just testing something and I'm building it. Suppose I broke it, suppose something failed, what will happen, separate email will go to me if I add my email address. Or how it will go, by sending, by giving the user ID. Okay, so whatever the user ID is set up, right, initially you see Ranjit Kumar, so this is the user, so automatically the email ID based on the configuration setup, the email go to that person. Okay, now I'm just showing you send email for every unstable build. So let's give email ID is called, suppose I'll give something, I gave the recipient name here and just save it. Just save it. Okay, I saved it here. Now, before that, let me just show you one more thing here. Um, Go to functions, which I'm going to test the SMTP server. It should give one test option here. Um, Okay. What it says in the email notification, right? In the email notification, whatever we did, right? All the setup in the below, you can see here test configuration by sending test email. Test configuration by sending test email. Just click on this and test email recipient. You can just give the recipient name. Okay, recipient name. Suppose I'll give as gmail.com. I just click on this Test configuration. To test whether this SMTP server is working fine or not. We did the setup, right? I will know that whether the server is running or not. If you execute the build and the email will, it will say the email is sent, but it will not been sent really. It will not, the user will not get the email. Before that, better to do a test. So they are giving an option to test the configuration. Now, sure, it is okay. So what it says, sending response SMTP server. Okay, it has come some Java related issues. Maybe it is not supporting email ID. Let me just add my Yahoo email ID. Just to wait for a few seconds, taking some time to send the email. Okay, what happens again? It is failed to send out the emails. Is the program it is not giving the exact error why it is failing? Failed to send out email. Testable.
Can we check that SMTP server is accessible?
No, server will be accessible, but let me check the server again. It is email.
Showing it's a bad greeting from SMTP server. So that's the reason.
Let's use the port, different port, 87. So 587. Okay, so you can say here email was successfully sent. Okay, so after giving the changing this port, okay, so you have to give start TLS port any one of this 25587 or 2586. Okay, any one of this port you have to provide. So after giving this 587, it sends the email. So let me check in my email address whether I have received it or not. Um, what else I can give here? Okay, so I have received the test mail. Okay, in my Yahoo email ID. But let me show you in my Gmail. Yahoo. Okay, it is not sending email to this because only the Ranjit.swine, that one is only has given the it is verified on this SMTP server, right? Let me use another one. Okay. So whatever email IDs are verified, it is sending the email. So initially, that's why I had told you you have to verify the email addresses. Okay. So I set up this email addresses. Email was successfully sent. So let me just log into my email ID. Email. I'm just stopping my screen. Okay. Since the email has not come to this email ID, um, let me just sign up for this account. Okay. So you can see here. Okay, we can see this email notifications, right, from Yahoo. So I'm receiving email in this an error occurred while trying to deliver. Okay, so as this is the admin email ID yahoo.com, right, ranjit.swine. So I'm getting this email ID. We due to some error, the email did not go to this ranjit.swine for you at gmail.com. Okay, so however, the test mail, the before test mail, we had received it here. Okay, an error occurred while trying to deliver the email to the following recipient. Again, this is also showing some. This is the test email from Jenkins. Anyway, so we can see here this email means at least this one is working. We are getting some failure emails here also. Okay. Now let me just do small setups here. Okay, this is how you have to do the test configurations. You have to do the whether your SMTP server is working fine or not. Okay. Anyway, we are getting any failure message means this SMTP server is working and we are getting this email IDs. Okay. Now let me just go here and do the changes to the job. Okay, so this is the job, and we are going to set up the email notifications. So how you'll do, I already have shown you. To just go in the post build sections, we have to just give that email notifications here. Okay, to make sure that our server is working, so let me just add this one at yahoo.com. And what it says, send email for every unstable build. If this build is failed, then one email will be triggered. Okay, now just save it. What I'm going to do, I'm going to change something so that the job will fail, now. Do some changes here, something. And I don't want this poll SCM. Okay, and save it, and let's build this project. Okay, what happened, it says the agent v4 is offline. Okay, that job, why it says, because we have set up this job to run on the agent v4. Okay, so can you tell me, this is a good question, how would I change this one? How I can change this to run on the master server? This will be a real question now. How I'll change this agent, the job to change to run on the master server? Currently it is set up to run on agent b4, but the agent b4 is offline, so that's why the job is in pending state. How can I change this? Any ideas or any
Any, yeah. Uh, if it becomes an active, will it go to master?
um, Okay, first thing, let me tell you. So, as you already have triggered the job and it is in pending state, and it will never run again agent v4, because we have no agent v4 is offline. So, if you want to run it, so you have to make the agent v4 to online first, active first. Okay, that it will automatically run. As we don't have agent v4 is active, and we have to do some other setup to make it active, I don't want this to run on agent v4. I will change it to run on the master. How I'll do the changes? First of all, just terminate this, because this will never run until unless the agent v4 is off online, right? So I terminated the build now. So what I'm going to do, just go to the configurations. As it is a freestyle job, you have to see in the first, in the general sections, you can see a restrict where this project can be run. So we had given on the level agent before. If it is a pipeline job, you have to change in the Jenkins file, right? If you see in the Jenkins file, agent label we had given, so we would have given that agent before, right? So there you have to change in the Jenkins file. But here I am just removing this option, restrict where this project can be run. Removing this option, save it, now build. Okay, now we can see here this one is running. Let's see if it is going perfectly or throwing any error. Okay, anyway, the job is got success, and it will not send out any email because the job is success. We had set up for any unstable build, the email should be triggered. Now I'll do some changes so that the job will fail. Okay, I'll do some changes so that the job will fail. Okay, so let me just add one W here so that it will not find this file and it will fail. Okay, then now let's see. Okay, now it is failed. What it says, archiving article, it is failed. What happens? Sending email to this email ID. Okay, as soon as you can say, I receive one new message here. See, immediately will receive one email, and it says all the logs over here. System, all the Jenkins logs. You can find all the Jenkins logs here. You can find all the Jenkins logs. No artifacts to match the mesh file pattern configuration. You will get all this kind of, all the complete Jenkins log in the email address. Okay, if the build is failed, and you can see everything in the logs. Okay, so this is how you have to set up the email address in your Jenkins job. Now it's clear, right, how you will set up the emails and all. Let me just go to this configuration and remove this credentials. I don't need these credentials anymore. Because if it is this video is recorded, these credentials can be misused, right? Um, okay, anyway, once it is done, we'll not be get it out, right? Credentials. You can see here how you'll delete, clean it. No, you have to just go to your IAM, Identity Access Management, and there you can find it out. This SMTP user addresses, right? 11 minutes ago it was created. So if you delete these two users, if you delete these two users, that's done. You will not get the user ID and password. Okay. So now I'm just going to this two. So I'm just cleaning out one. Okay. So my IAM users, now it's done. Now deleted. So now for the cloud perspective, now you understood how the simple email services of AWS is linked with the another service called IAM. Whenever you create a credentials or a user in the SES, it will create the user in the IAM and it will give you the credentials from here. That means the IAM and SES is integrated. All the services, whatever using the credentials, will be created under IAM only. Okay, that's not good things. Real time experience. It will help you to understand the concept. Now this is done. So we are able to set up the email notifications, and now you know how to set up this email configurations and all, right? So first you have to set up everything, the manage Jenkins and configure systems. After then you have to set up in the jobs. So that's the one thing is setting up the email addresses. Now today what we learn, will let's cover the shared library concept. This is the advanced concept of the Jenkins. We'll just go to the shared library and we see what exactly it is and how we can set up and reuse our code and what is exactly this shared library. If you understand clearly, then we can do whatever setups we can do, right? So, what is this Jenkins shared library? Jenkins shared library is a concept of having a common pipeline code in the version control system that can be used by any number of pipelines just by referencing it. Multiple teams can use the same shared library for their team. Suppose um, Sarvanan and myself are working in a team, okay, and we have created our shared library. We have created lots of scripts, lots of Ruby scripts, and that will be some for functionality. For the as we and Sasikala is working for another team for the same organization. Okay, so if Sasikala wants to use one of the script, one of the functionality. So what she can get that particular script and use that script in her code. She does not have to write the code from the scratch. She does not have to write any shared library. She does not have to create any shared library repo or anything. What she has to do, she has to just reference the shared library in her code. That's all, and use that particular functionality. Suppose we, Sarvananan and myself, have created mm, 15 or 20 scripts, and that 20 scripts have given 20 functionality. 20 functionality are there, and Sasikala wants two functionality out of 20, and she can easily reference our shared library, whatever we have created, and use that two functionality in her code. That's all. and we can use that. That can be used for. That's why we said the common pipeline code in the version control that can be used by any number of pipeline just by referencing it. So what is the benefits of using, because what is the benefits of the SAR library? The SAR library can be reused. We don't have to write the code again and again. That's why the name itself says shared library. We can share our library with anyone. Okay. Now, how we have to set up this? Now you understood the shared library, why we need this shared library, and what is this shared library. Now we have to set up the shared library. So here is the folder structure you have to create. The first thing is you have to just create a folder, and that folder name should be the shared library name. Okay, that should be created on the GitHub repositories. This should be created on the GitHub repositories. Okay, now if I go to my GitHub repositories, okay, before that let me explain all this, then we'll go to that. And in this library folder, you have to see the folder structure. You have to create three like the words, source, and resources folder. Three folders you have to create it. Three subfolders you have to create it on the parent folder. Okay, and the repository, not parent folder, on the repository. This is the repository name, and this repository name should be the shared library name. Okay, and under that you have to create three folders: vars, source, and resources. What are these folders being referenced for? These folders are what are actually, this is a directory holds all the global shared library code that can be called from a pipeline. Whatever the script, whatever the code you are going to write, you have to put it under this vars folder. And what will happen? That will become a global library, so that any one of you want this code to be used, you can just reference that one. And it has all the library files with a Groovy extension. But as we are going to write the Groovy scripts, so you have to learn a little bit Groovy, and it is easy. Don't worry, the Groovy extensions and all these things you can find it from the internet. From the Jenkins.io page, you will find all this information. Okay, don't worry. Now, in the source folder, it is added to the class path during every script compilation. We can add custom Groovy code to the extend our shared library code. And the resources, what it does, it all the non-Groovy files required for your pipelines can be managed in this folder. So non-Groovy files like your some variables you declare or something environment variables you declared, you create a small file, and that file can be no, reference and managed in the pipeline. So that you can put it in the resources folder. So now let's do how we can do the setups. First thing we have to do, create the repositories on the GitHub source code management. Just go to the GitHub here. Let me show you. Okay, I have one is called Jenkins shared library. So I have given a name as my Jenkins CLM. You can give a name whatever you want based on your requirement, based on your company policy, based on your project. You can give a name to that. I have given is my Jenkins CLM. You can give whatever name you want, but that will be your shared library um, repo. Okay, so in this repo I have only created only one folder. You know how to create a folder, right? If not, then I'll show you. Just try to add any file, create a new file, and if you want to put in a folder, then just write this folder name and then just give a class. You can see here, as soon as I gave this class, it created a folder source, and in this folder I'm going to put a file. suppose I'm going to put a small file is called test.groovy. Anything, I just added it. Just write something here. Test file. Okay, one file is created under the source folder. If I go here, you can see another folder called source folder is added here. Okay, but we are now going to concentrate on this bars folder, as we are going to make this folder as our global directory where all the scripts will be put it over here. Now I have created few Groovy scripts over here. Now, all your, as I told, all your Groovy scripts will kept it here. So what we have done here, we have just added build.groovy. I have just created 5 Groovy files. Normal, suppose for building purpose, I have created a name build, and for deploying, I have created a deploy.groovy. For Java build, for .NET build, I have set it build. I have for scanning, I have a different file. Okay, all the scripts you have to write in this manner. Suppose let's click on this group file. Nothing is there. Simply I have written something. So how you will write this script? That is the main thing. You have to little bit learn about this Groovy. It's not like that you have to be master in that. If you follow the Groovy syntax, if you follow the Groovy syntax, you can easily write the Groovy scripts. You can easily write the Groovy script. I would suggest you, if you're going to be master in the Jenkins, at least you should understand little Groovy, how you'll write and automate the Groovy scripts. Because see, without knowing this shared library, you can do all kind of automations by using the pipeline as for the simple DSL language. If you use only pipelines, you can do the automations. But to make a robust automation, and to make it very strong one, very good automations, you have to at least write some script, right? You can write your own way how you can do the automation. Now, to know that Groovy scripts, okay, I'll just give you this pipeline. Out this Jenkins script Groovy. There is one link I'll share with you. uh, Follow this, okay, and you'll find lots of scripts, okay, Groovy scripts. This is very good actually. I found it from somewhere in the see, lots of Groovy scripts. Lots of Groovy scripts are there. Guys, you don't really have to remember everything. You can just follow the, if you understand what you are doing and how you have to put it, then you can easily find it all the requirement from the internet, okay, and you have to just use them. If you see here, I have just used like create agent scripts. If you go here and you can find it out, see, lots of things they have written, and whatever you need, you can just get all the informations from here. Small information, you don't have to copy paste all the code whatever he or she has written here. You have to simply know what you want, just get that code and use in your program. This is the way I'm just telling you to do, but at least you should know how you can use the Groovy scripts. Okay, now I can say Jenkins Groovy scripts. So if I can just go here, just go to the Groovy Jenkins pipeline in the Jenkins IO. In the Jenkins IO page, Jenkins IO, their official website, you can find out the steps for Groovy, okay, pipeline and Groovy, and how you'll write the code. All these things are written over here. Okay, for more details, you can follow this Jenkins pipeline. If I go to this Jenkins pipeline, you follow this documentation, okay, and now you'll find something called uh, scripted OA and scripted pipeline. Something scripted pipelines will be there, right? So just go for the scripted pipelines. Anything, just click on scripted pipelines. Okay. So I was today whatever I set up, I showed you right how you will set up all these emails and all same things. We can set it here, for example, email notifications and all, right? And how you will set up this email notifications, Groovy scripts. That also you can find it out in that. All the codes also you can find it out over here. See, email text, subject, body, and the recipient. All these things you have to copy this and you have to use in your code. Now this is what the extended one and the concept what you are using. But now I'll just tell you how you will use all these codes in your Jenkins. Okay. Now just forget about all this. Let me just tell you what are the things you are going to use first of all. Now I'm going to write small pipelines. Okay, before writing small pipelines, I'll just show you. Here, suppose I have created one Jenkins style library. This will be my Jenkins style library, which contains all the Groovy code for our side library purpose. Okay, now what I'm going to do, uh, I'm going to show you a code how you'll write it down. Here I have created another code. It is this is the one another class I have created it. Fine. That is small created. There was question library. Okay, I think it's not there. Fine. The DevOps somewhere it will be there in branches. Um, library. Okay. Fine. So here I have created the one branch. It's called Jenkins. So for in this DevOps web, I've created one branch called feature library, feature slash library. So that means I have used some library concept, advanced library concept here. That's why I've used feature library. Now, how you will add all these things in the shared library? First thing you have to create the scripts and everything in the shared library in the new repo and put everything over there. That is your shared library repo. Now, how you will use that shared library repo in your project? How you will use that shared library repo in your project? Now, in your in your Jenkins file, you have to use the code like first thing is you have to mention in your pipeline in the Jenkins file at the rate library at the rate library. Okay, now let me just how you'll see, I'll just bring you all this side library extending with side library and how you'll write all this code. Everything is given here. Okay, and how you'll do the setups, all these things are given here. See, and it has given the documentation how you will start using the version specifier such as branch or tag. You can just use it here. Okay, now this is the branch, this is the main branch, master branch, which I'm going to use. You have to use in this way. Okay, now let me just bring you this link and you can keep it handy and future reference.
Ranjit, that underscore, no, which at the end of the line, is
Yeah,
that mandatory?
yes, it is mandatory. I'll tell you. It is mandatory. You have to give underscore like this. Okay. So here, why it is feels like it is given here for shared libraries, which only defines the global variables was for a Jenkins files, which is only needs a global variable. The annotation part at the library. Okay. This may be useful for keeping code concise. Instead of annotating an unnecessary import statement, the symbol underscore is annotated here. So if you see here, other programming code, if you see the Java or any .NET or C++, anything, we used to import a library. If you remember, if you have some ideas on the development part, you'll be seeing whenever we need some kind of framework, if you're writing and you need some functionality, you need to add some code or library in that particular code. What we have to do, we have to import that particular library to our code so that we can use that functionality, right? The same thing, instead of writing import and all, we are just giving at the library concept, and at the end we are giving the underscore, and this is the way you have to write it. If you forget to write this underscore, it will fail. I'll just show you by editing this, don't worry. Now this is, and what is this my Jenkins child library? The name of the repo of the Jenkins child library. Remember, so that is what we have to provide it here, and inside this add the library, and in the single quote and last underscore you have to give. And the rest of the thing,
1 minute, Randy.
yeah.
So, uh, whichever project I have, that my Jenkins shared library uh, folder,
Mhm,
if I use at the library annotation,
mhm.
it will pick up,
Yes, the
right.
library name you have to provide it here. Add the library, and what is the library name? This is the library name.
So this shared library is global for all Jenkins uh, project or
Yes, it is global for all Jenkins project as long as you do the setups of that particular cell library in your Jenkins. That setup I have not told you yet. Once I covered this Jenkins
okay.
file, that setup I'll tell you. Okay. After I show you the code, how to write the code. Once you write the code, I'll show you how you will set off that shared library repo in the Jenkins configuration space so that you can use it for all the codes globally. I'll show you how to do that.
Okay,
Okay. Now,
okay, fine. Now I actually till now I was in a different confusion.
yeah, yeah.
After seeing at library annotation, I got it.
No,
So, for my understanding, um, we can create a number of shared library scripts or whatever it is, and it has the folder structure as source variables and one more thing about
yes,
that,
yes.
and it will be stored in a global space
It will store
across all
in a repositories. That's all. You have to store in a repositories, and in that
repository.
repository,
Okay.
you have to, if you want to make that repositories, you have to use this repositories in your settings of Jenkins so that you can make it as global shared library repo. Any job you create, you
Okay.
can use that.
Okay, so that repository which is specific to hold all the shared libraries, is it also part of our Jenkins uh, um, uh, Jenkins file creation, or that is entirely different?
It is
Is
totally
that entirely different?
entirely different. It is entirely different. This shared
Okay.
library, whatever we created and added into the GitHub page, in the GitHub repo, that anyone can write and contribute the code over there. Anyone can write and contribute the code
Uh,
over there. But whenever you are going to
okay,
use, create a script, create a Jenkins file, whether it's up to you whether you can reference that shared library or not. Up to you. If you want to reference it simply by using this in your Jenkins file, you are referencing that global code.
okay, fine. So Jenkins shared library is also a repository which is created in GitHub, right?
Yes, you have to create.
Yeah, okay, fine.
Okay, you have to create in it. You cannot say the sentence like whatever you told is wrong. It's not like a repo
Okay,
should be created. So it's actually you have to create in the repository. So the Jenkins side library definition is not like that. It is the repo and all this, right? But Jenkins side library should be created on any kind of repo, either in GitHub or any repo you are using in your organizations. Okay, so that means these shared libraries, all the script, whatever I told, all the script, those are nothing but one library, one library. That is the one functionality, one of the functionality. So we are going to use that functionality in our code as a library. Okay,
Okay.
that we are.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll show you. Let's cover this code first, then I'll show you how to set up this one.
So one more doubt also. So only one annotation is there at this at library, or any other annotations are there?
Sorry, I just missed your question. What is that?
No, actually, for creating a shared library and accessing it, Jenkins has only one annotation as at library, or any other things are there?
No, you have to write art library only. So you have to follow these
Yeah.
documentations, and these three ways you can do it. What is this three way?
Okay.
We can use art library and the shared library name underscore. And if you want to use any kind of version, so what is this version? Can you, one of you tell what is this version? This is not the version. This is the version actually is the branch name. You remember?
Yeah, branch version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you
Yeah,
want
correct.
to use a particular branch, if you want to use a particular branch, because shared library as we have created in a repo, we can create multiple branches also, because we cannot add everything, any scripts into the master directly, right? Suppose I am writing one
Yeah.
shared library script library, and Sarvanan writing one library, and you are writing one library. So we'll create different branches and we'll put our library there and test it. So here the library is nothing but the Groovy script, whatever we are going to write it, the functionality, right? So, and I want to test that functionality, I can just add the branch name here. Okay, and another
Okay.
way is how we can use access the multiple libraries. So whenever the multiple libraries is required, like suppose we have in our organization, we have one or two or three libraries created by different teams. Suppose I need one functionality from team A library and another functionality I need suppose team B library. I can specify
Okay.
the library name over here like this. So these three way you can
Okay.
follow.
Okay, and now I am getting one more doubt.
Mhm,
So if I want to use others' library,
mhm.
so the libraries are available for everyone. For example, in a team, 10 people are creating a library files. So all those 10% library is available for all 10.
Yes, it will be available for all 10. It will be available for entire organization as long as you specify in the settings how you use the library. I'll show you the settings.
Okay.
Once you know how to set up that settings, then anyone in your team can use that library. It is global. That's why
Okay, because
it is global.
okay, fine, sure, thank.
Yeah. Now, let me just quickly explain this. Okay. How to write this script, how to use and how to call the library in your code, in your Jenkins file, in your pipeline. That's the most important, right? Suppose here, now you can see how minimized our code. All these codes in the stages, the how to write the syntax, pipeline syntax, the same syntax you have to write it over here. The same syntax you have to write it here. Stages, states, suppose SonarQube scan I've read, steps, and how you will call the library. You can call the library as script under the script snippet. You have to call the method of scan. So what is this scan method? If I go to the, if I go here, okay, and see my sad library things, one second. So you can see here, I have one library called scan.groovy. Okay, scan.groovy. So here you have to call the scan.groovy like this. Whatever I has called scan, only you have to just call scan and the bracket. You have just call the like the method. You don't have to write scan.groovy here or something. So how you will that you need to understand how you will call the library, how you will call the library whatever is created over here. Okay, you have to simply write scan here, simply write scan. So what it will do, it will take the scan over here in this add library, and if it finds the scan.groovy, then it will execute here, and it should be executed under the script snippet. Okay, under the script. Here you have to write the script, under that you have to write the scan. Similarly, suppose I am just building, suppose some Java build or .NET build, you can call it for Java build, you can call for deploy. Okay, simple things, but here we are just minimizing the code. All the code is written over all this library, all this library. Okay, suppose how you'll write this script. Groovy script is very simple. Whenever you write any script, you have to just define as def. So any method you are writing in the Groovy, you have to just as define def and call. If you use def and call, that means this call will be global for any call. That means we are calling this method. Okay, and if you want to use a specific method in a different method, I'll show you. If you are using a different method, then you can just give a method name, and I'll just follow one link for Groovy script. You can just use Groovy script. I would say just use for docs.oracle. It will have good things. Or if you want, you can just use for tutorials point. Okay, tutorials point. This very good one for the Groovy. Just follow this tutorials point, and you'll find how you can write the Groovy syntax. It's very easy, guys. If you just focus how to write, because we are not going to make a career on that, right? We are going to learn how to write the Groovy script by our own, right? Just follow this documentation. If you have small ideas on writing scripting, if you have written shell script, you have written JavaScript, anything, right? You can simply just follow same ways to declare variables, operators, looping, decision making, everything are same. Okay, everything are same.
Ranjit, the interview will ask any questions on this Groovy, like how we are going to use Groovy and Jenkins. Any interview questions will be based on this. No?
Yes, they'll ask how you'll call the Groovy scripts. They'll ask how you write the Groovy scripts and all. You can just tell, see, this is how the method is defined. The method is defined, method name and all. So this is the method name is defined here. Here, if you see in my Jenkins, I have given a method is global method is called call. That means whenever I call this scan library, it will call this whatever is printed here. Suppose you have given is suppose define and my method given a different name, then we have to just use. I'll show you how you will use. You can use just scan.my method. You can use scan.my method. Okay, that you can use it. Now I'll show you these details completely. Don't worry. Okay, here you can see how we can use and call the methods. Here we have created a method is called display name, and this is how we are calling the display name. It's inside a Groovy script, but in Jenkins it is different. And here the same things, but you don't have to. That's why I told you don't have to mastery on this. You have to know just how to write and call the things. There are lots of things are there, but don't get confused and don't get waste. It is not a wasting if you learn. This is a new things, and you can do mastery also if you want. Simple things, loops and all. It's common for all the languages, right? Uh, but the way of writing and the syntax are different. Okay, everything is equal for some like all the languages, but the the writing syntax are different. The for statement, how to write the for statement, and I think this for statement is equal for C language, C++, Java, and whatever, right? The same thing. So the decision making, whatever the syntax, you can find it over here. Okay, now let me just tell you all this. Okay, now I just called scan here, and I then same thing I just called Java. Now, how I use this one in our code. Okay. Now let's go and create a job. Now go and just create a job. New item. And remember, you have to use the multi-branch pipeline. Then only you will find, you will get that options of sad library things. Okay. I'll just create sad library, sad before. Okay. And just use multi-branch pipeline. It okay. So all these things I'm not giving. You can give it over here. I'm just simply going down branch source. Definitely you have to use git and the project. Which project you are going to use? Okay. So I'm going to use this project. Get the code. This is the normal so far it is normal. Okay, I have not showed you to set up the sad library. Okay, now this is done, all these things. Okay, how this will be discovered, the branches, the by the wildcard. Suppose I want star everything, just let it give everything. Okay, now by Jenkins file, that's all. This is the normal setup whatever I had showed you in our multi-branch section, multi-branch classes. I had showed you how to create all this. Okay, now all this is done. If you go down, you'll see one option called pipeline libraries. One option called pipeline libraries. Now you got it, right? You can see here option pipeline libraries. Just what it says, shareable libraries available to any pipeline jobs inside this folder. Okay, now just add it. Okay, you must enter a name. What is the library name? Then you have to get the library name whatever you have given the library name here. So this is the library name. Okay, set up here library name. Okay, now the default version, let it be the default version because don't have any versions here. So include see it gives include library changes in job, recent changes, whatever it is. Then you just select all these two. A retrieval method, first you gave the library name here, leave it as it is everything. Retrieval method, this is very important. Two options they are giving. One is the legacy source code management. Another one is the modern source code management. So the legacy one is the old one always, so we don't go for the legacy one. Just try to go for the modern source code which we are using in the company. This is the real time we are working in the modern source code management. Okay, click on this, and here you have to provide it again. It is asking for the source code management, and this time the source code management is for the sad library, not for the project. Remember all this, for the sad library. Okay, here the project repositories. So what is the project repositories? You have to give the project repositories. You have to get for the sad library repo. You have to get the sad library project repo. Last time when I did the project setup, I got this repo, but now I'm getting the sad library repo. Okay, my Jenkins sad library. Go here, add this repo project repositories here. Okay, add it. So remember the all your organization, you should have been credentials set up here. Select one of the credentials and it will be, as it is public, it is not asking for any credentials. Okay, now behavior, you know how to discover this. You can either use the wildcards, filter by wildcards. I've just given everything. Okay, no worries. Now that's all simple, right? But this modern SCM, this modern SCM, you have to just provide the project repositories, my Jenkins side library. Okay, now just everything is done. Save it. So as soon as you save, it will just scan the, as it is multi-branch pipeline, it will scan the repositories and the number of branches available, it will just create the job, right? So if I go to this library before, I'll find, see, lots of things available here. Lots of things available here. Now, what do we need? Let me just leave. Okay, so remember, whatever the things, whenever you scan, all the jobs will be running immediately. So I can just remove all this. I don't need all this to be run.
Uh, Only the one doubt here, that under my library folder structure, right, you created WAF, SRC and all, right? So we need to follow the same naming convention, right? We should not use different names and all to create the folder structure.
Sorry, yes, you have to follow the same naming conventions. If you see, if you don't, if you give different naming conventions, then you have to use some different template engine. If your company provides some
Oh,
different template engine, then you have to use different template engineering to provide. If you are using the shared library concept, okay, then use the
uh-huh.
same structure whatever I showed
Same.
you. Okay, so same thing you can see
Okay.
also in this their programming, right? They have created. See, sorts, bars. This is how the directory structure of the SAD library. If you want to modify the structure and all things, then you have to use a third-party Jenkins, third-party engine template engineering. That means you are changing the templates. Okay, that you have to use
Okay.
it, and that is totally different, and it is little difficult to understand. Okay.
Okay.
Now, what I'm going to do here, okay, so what happens, my Jenkins server crashed because there are lots of things running, right? So it is crashed. Let me see whether the EC2 server is open. So it's not okay. My instance is okay. The instance is crashed. Fine. Sorry, it's not Northern Virginia. It's in by region, right? Okay, it's running, but it is crashed. Okay, I need to restart the server. Okay, let me restart the server. Because it has very less resources, right? The memory, the storage, everything were very less. So if you add more jobs and more process running at the same time, it will crash. So now I have to restart this. Stop and start. I'm just pausing this video. Okay, I'm just pausing this video until it gets restarted and the server is running. Okay. Just 2 minutes, guys. I'll be back. Just 2 minutes.
Sure.
Okay, sorry guys. So our job is sorry. This one will be running now. So let me just get it. Copy this ID. Okay, so let me, as it is overloaded, I'm just cleaning one on that is. I'm just terminating all this. Yes, yes. Remember, whenever you do this multi-branch scan, right, all the jobs will run automatically. Okay, so you have to kill it one. So better not to give all star to get all the branches. Whatever the branches you want to do a test, just specify that branch in the section. I gave star only, right? So it get all the branches over here. Now what we are going to do, we are going to just work on the branch here, right? Which branch? The library branch here. Just click on this branch, and if you go here and check, right, go the view configurations, and you will see here. Okay, only display feature. It's not, nothing is there to get it. Fine. So as we are using the cell library concept, right? Just let's build this one and check what's happening. Okay. So what happens here? It failed. Just go here. Okay. So you can see here the error we are getting. Loading library failed. It failed to load the library. So first let's check why it is failed to load the library. So the library name is my Jenkins sad library, right? So if I go and do, let's check the first things, my Jenkins library. This is correct. Okay. Now just go to the settings here. Go to the main job settings. Okay. And here I can just go to the configure here. So here go to the pipeline library. So what happens here? We have given this my Jenkins library. That's true. That's correct, right? My Jenkins library. Here I can just make only one feature slash leave, so that not no need to get all the jobs at the same time, right? So and that I'll do it here. Save it. So this is the job level setup. I did it. This is the job level setup. I did it. Okay. Now let's go here and do the changes. Something here. Go to the dashboard. Another setups I'll show you here. Go to manage Jenkins. Go to the configure system. So you can see here global pipeline library.
Okay, remember why to do the I was telling about the configuration settings you have to do, right? Here what you have to do, global pipeline library setups. Just click on add, and here you have to give the library name. Okay, just give the library, sorry, just give the library name here. What is the library name? Get this library name.
So Ranjit, we need to add it in both places. Huh? This global libraries plus
This
on the job side also we need to.
Yes, we have to set up here and there also. Okay,
Oh.
now let's do the modern source code management. See, either ways you can do setup here or there also, but as see, as the administration, right, Jenkins administration, they will always do the setups over here, and then you can add that based on the job specific. Okay, I'm just adding and checking whether it is working or not, because it is not able to load the library. Okay, that means the administration should have do the library setup in the configurations file. I'm doing it, and let's see how it is working. Okay, now just give the library over here. Here another things, right, I was talking about to add multiple libraries, right? I was saying like to call the multiple libraries. How you'll add these multiple libraries? You can simple click on this add button, right? If you click add button, it is asking to add another library. So you can add the another library here. Okay. If you want to add one more, then you can click on add. So multiple libraries you can do in the settings. Okay. I don't want one more library, so I just removed it, and all this done, right? Setting is done. Now just save it. Let's go and run this library job. Let's run and check whether it is able to build or not. Oh my god, it's again failed. That means something we are missing. What it says, max survivability duration, no version specified. Okay, no version specified for library. See, what is the error? No version specified for library. This one, we have not specified any version here. That's the silly mistake, right? And where I can specify this version, guys? In the configurations. These configurations, we have to specify the library here, the version. When we did setup, right, pipeline library setups, we left this version, default version. So you have to just I can write it as master, default version as
Yeah,
master.
actually, here the version means it's the branch. Huh?
Exactly, this is the branch. This is the branch of the,
Okay.
this is the branch of the repositories. Okay, so which version you are going to use? If you want to know more about that, just click on this, one second, click on this question mark, right? See, a default version of library to load if a script does not select another might be a branch name. See, branch name or tag or commit or anything. So if you have to specify that default branch, just mention as master. Okay, I just mention a master. Now save it. Okay, and it is success now. Go to here. If I go and build now, it should run. Now it is running. See, because that time if you see the logs itself for the third failure, it says you have to be careful and check the logs why it is failing. It clearly says no version specified for library. This one, we have not specified any version, that's why it was failing. Okay, now if I go here and check the, see, the fourth one is success because we specified the master branch. And suppose you have created, suppose, multiple branches here, as we have only one master branch here, and suppose we are working multiple teams here and we'll have multiple branches, and you want to test that particular branch, you can specify the branch over here, there. Okay, so the two ways you can do, if you want to globally set up, you can set up in the manage Jenkins, go to configuration management and set there itself, or you can set up project wise, set up in the project wise. So suppose I am using one, creating one project, I can use reference this set library in my project, so that what is the benefit of that, it will not misleading or mishandled by some other team, right, or some, or misused by, or you can say like the configuration sometimes will get break, right, you'll not understand and you cannot do, you cannot keep in your control. So better always to add the changes to the respective project, respective job, whatever you create. Okay, so if I go and click this logs, you can see here, see, so first thing is executing the scanning method, right? So where is this executing the scanning method? It was in the scan.groovy file, right? It was in the scan.groovy file. If you go to the scan, executing the scanning method, so this method is called. Okay, and now if I go here, now building the Java project, now it is building the Java project. See, it is the building the Java project. Now if I go to the Java project here, Java build, see, simple things I have written, sh ambient clean install. So what happened, it just executed this code, and I have written sh in the script, you have to write. So now you have to understand how you will use the codes in your functions, in your methods, right? That you can get it from the internet and from the Google. See, here I have used in Unix style. Sometimes you may use PowerShell, you may use PowerShell. So you have to just get for PowerShell syntax, how to write for the PowerShell syntax, and how to write it for batch files, like for Windows, right? Now, what you will do, if you want to add for anything for Windows, simply just add bat double quote to the triple quote batch file, and then write the code for batch, so it will execute for batch. Okay, for PowerShell, just write for PowerShell syntax and then it will execute for PowerShell. Okay, but the other syntax are same. Now Java build is done. The next log, what it says, it says for deploying the method. So in this deploy method, we can add the code to deploy the, or to delivery the code to any server, or to deploy the code in any of the things. Okay, in our final project, maybe tomorrow, once I set up all these other tool configurations, I'll, in this sad library, I'll write the code to do whatever we used to do in the pipeline syntax, simple normal pipeline, whatever the code we have written, right? If I show this normal pipeline, if I go to any of the branch and so whatever the pipeline we have written here, the same thing I'm going to add in the Groovy script. The same thing will add in the Groovy script, and we can go further. Okay, so that's all about this sad library, and I would suggest you, advise you to follow these documentations, everything. See, all with examples they have given, with examples they have given, and how to use and all. Okay, so you just follow this documentation for to get more details. They have written the script as well, they have written the script as well. Just go through this script, they have written conditions and all, and a lot of details they have given. Okay, So go through this and try to do practice. And you have not yet practiced whatever I have taught you so far, then you are already behind the class, right? So again, you will forget whatever things we have learned so far. So I'm just keeping the
So,
class now. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
please.
so tomorrow we will be seeing, you mentioned something for tomorrow's session, right? So what do you told that? Could you please
Yeah,
repeat that?
tomorrow we'll do this Docker integration. Okay, how to integrate Docker in the Jenkins, how to integrate Ansible in Jenkins. Okay, and how to integrate
Okay.
cloud storage in the Jenkins. That three sections I will complete
Okay.
yesterday. Sorry, tomorrow, and then we'll finish up this
Mhm.
class. Okay, and then whatever the
Okay.
project we'll do, either if we get tomorrow time, we'll do the project, or else some other day we'll do the one project. Or shared library project, so that
Sure.
it will be over. Okay.
Yeah. Ranjit, if you have any use cases related to Slack integration, right? So if you have any, like, if you're done for your project, if you show us in
Slack,
a high level, right? So it
Slack
will be
integration,
helpful.
right?
Slack integration, yeah.
Okay.
In real time,
Uh,
how we can use so that notification, or if you want to send based upon the build completion and other things. And all that.
yeah, yeah. So okay, fine, fine. We'll see that one if
Yeah.
we can do. I'll see that if I can do setup. I have not done the Slack integrations, but I'll show you how we can do it. I have
Oh,
some ideas on that.
okay.
I'll find it out and we'll
Sure.
just do that integrations also. Okay.
Sure. Sure. Thank you.